Today on Hearts of Heroes, a flash flood barrels through a Utah canyon.
Flash flood!
All of a sudden, a huge wall of water starts coming.
There's nowhere to go. You're just at the mercy of whatever that water's going to do as it flashes through.
Our plan was that one of us has to keep going no matter what happened.
And later,
this is the largest water event I've ever seen.
as floodwaters rise, a former first responder and his young son will have to brave a brutal storm surge to save their relative in need.
I could hear her screaming from inside. That was terrifying. It was bad.
Heroes can often emerge when we least expect them. The sandstone canyons of Utah attract hikers and adventurers from around the globe. But these natural wonders can pose hazardous threats.
And when a flash flood roared through the canyons of Buckskin Gulch in Kane County, one hiker found himself battling Mother Nature for his life.
Buckskin Gulch is what's known as a slot canyon, an extremely deep and narrow passageway formed by the erosion of running water.
The majority of the canyon is only probably 2 to 3 feet wide, and the walls can be anywhere from 100 to 350 feet high.
Because of the natural terrain, there are very few ways to get in and out.
Once you get in, your only option is to come back out where you entered the canyon or to come out the bottom.
Ed Smith is a retired Air Force major and an avid outdoorsman. He and 2 other friends decided to make the trek and take on Buckskin Gulch.
It was intended to be a 3-day hike, and we were going to go right around that 40 miles over those 3 days.
Given their experience, the friends made sure that they were well-trained and prepared.
We prepped as much as we could. We researched, we checked the weather repeatedly, we spoke to the rangers. We're ready for this hike.
On Friday morning, they made the descent into the canyon.
It was a gorgeous trip. The area was gorgeous, the weather was perfect. Everything really was storybook.
But hours into the trip, a storm had hit miles away. Ed and his friends knew something was terribly wrong.
You can hear something, but you don't know where it's at.
All of a sudden,
Flash flood!
a huge wall of water starts coming.
Suddenly, Ed and his friends were rushing down a torrential river.
It was almost like a locomotive coming at you. And then it's sort of like a water slide, except instead of being a nice, smooth plastic slide, it's rocks.
The force of the water separated one of the men. Ed and his other buddy knew that their only hope was to keep pressing forward. But Ed's friend had stepped into a pool of quicksand and was unable to get out. There was no cell phone service in the canyon, so the friends decided the only hope for rescue was for Ed to forge ahead alone.
Our plan was that one of us has to get to an area that we could get some degree of signal out.
Ed had no choice but to head off alone. Coming up, heroes put themselves on the line to save lives.
He couldn't get to me.
The canyon walls here were 300 plus, and so there's no way we could have got to him.
But first, a tip to help keep backpackers, hikers, and campers safe.
There's nothing quite like spending backcountry one-on-one time with Mother Nature. But before you leave, be sure to have a way to communicate with emergency services should you find yourself or others in trouble.
Two-way satellite devices can serve as an electronic safety net. They allow hikers to send and receive messages even if they're off the grid.
Always stay prepared, not just to protect yourself, but to be a beacon of hope should you encounter fellow hikers who may be in distress.
In March of 2023, Ed Smith and 2 hiking buddies got caught in a flash flood in a Utah slot canyon. With his friends in trouble, a severely hyperthermic Ed pushed on to try to get cell service and call for help.
You have to focus on what you can for survival. And everybody has their focuses. And mine was my wife.
By late Sunday, no one had heard from Ed or his friends. Their wives made an urgent call to the authorities.
This was a case that we needed to take action pretty quickly and try to get out there and see if we could find these men.
Rescue helicopters were quickly dispatched above the canyon.
We figured the best way to start was start where they started and then follow down the canyon.
We have a camera on our helicopter that's high definition, color, infrared, which means we can see heat sources.
As they passed the narrow canyon, rescuers spotted something.
Yeah, I see that gear.
I'm slowly trying to hover over the canyon to let the camera operator see down in the canyon.
There. I got it. You start actually just slowly creep up to your right. Laying down now.
Being in the canyon, everything echoes. And so when you hear it, you have no idea where the helicopter is. You just know it's somewhere above you.
Are we doing good up there? You've got an overhang above you.
The canyon walls here were 300 plus, and so there's no way we could have got to him. So we flew down canyon a little bit and found an area that was wide enough that we could descend down in. And so we lowered our rescuer.
Within moments, that rescuer reached a battered Ed and carried him to the helicopter cable.
Safety's going on, safety's on. Bringing him up and in cannon.
Because of the length of the ordeal for him, I don't think he had a lot of strength left.
They flew Ed back to base camp to wait for a second medevac helicopter, which took him to the hospital.
I sat with him for quite a while, waiting for the helicopter to come land and take him. That was pretty tough.
You can't imagine the compassion they have and just how caring they are and what they risk to go through every day.
Ed was then taken to the ICU to begin his slow, yet successful recovery. But this rescue was nowhere near over.
Now we had a little bit better idea of what was going on in the canyon.
I got into a quicksand. Are we doing good up there? Yeah, let's bring him up and in cannon.
We eventually pulled 18 people out of the canyon.
Tragically, Ed's two friends did not make it.
Knowing how much they had prepared, how much they had trained, how strong they were, you always ask the question, why?
They did everything right, but sometimes bad things happen.
Despite the heartbreaking outcome, many other people's lives were saved because the wives had alerted rescuers.
The family of Ed and his party were instrumental in helping avoid maybe something even more tragic.
Recently, Sheldon Yellen from our sponsor Belfour Property Restoration had the opportunity to introduce Ed and his wife Shiloh to the brave heroes who rescued them.
Obviously, it's an emotional moment. What are you feeling?
Great, grateful, very, very grateful that they were able to find me and get me out of there.
Our families and our friends are truly grateful, so thank you.
It's not every day you get to look the people who saved your life in the eye and thank them personally, and this is great to be able to do that. This is not a job, this is their life, and they put their life on the line for people like me all the time.
Coming up, a man braves deadly flooding to get to his stranded and desperate mother.
It was taking my feet from under me, and you're just kicking. It's probably one of the strongest things I've ever pushed against.
It happens every day. People are going about their daily lives when suddenly a disaster strikes, turning their lives upside down.
And when one of these catastrophic events went down, things could have been much worse had it not been for the brave heroes who showed up to save the day.
Johnny Lauder and his family have called the seaside community of Naples, Florida, home.
I'm about 4 blocks from my son's house. My mother lives about a half mile further south from my son's house.
Though his mother is in her 80s and confined to a wheelchair, she is fiercely independent.
My mother is very special. She's a tough girl. Stubbornness, to put it lightly.
Yeah, I am. He's right. Sometimes he tells me something, I don't listen.
When Hurricane Ian hit in 2022, up to 15 feet of storm surge inundated the southwest coast of Florida. Evacuations were ordered, but some refused to take the threat seriously, including Johnny's mother, Karen.
When she heard the hurricane was coming, she's like, nope, I'm staying, I'm not going anywhere.
Concerned for his mother's safety, Johnny, a former first responder, and his family rode out the storm.
My son, his girlfriend, my youngest son, all piled up into the crawl space.
From the attic, Johnny's son, Xavier, called his wheelchair-bound grandma. He quickly realized that she was in much more danger than they were. Johnny sprung into action.
And I jumped out the window and started my trek to my mom's house. When I jumped out the window, I felt the full force of the water all pushing against me.
Johnny would have to fight against really powerful currents to get to her.
It's probably one of the strongest things I've ever pushed against.
As Johnny fought the surge, the raging water wasn't the only danger.
The storm surge was picking up anything and everything that was in its path. There was fuel, vehicles that got flooded. You had the septic tanks in people's yards as the water was flooding those residential areas.
It's all mixing together, and in some places that water was pretty putrid. Oh my gosh.
Floodwaters can be filled with sewage, toxins, and even dangerous creatures. So you definitely don't want to be submerged in this hazardous mixture.
We had a report of an actual shark swimming in a parking lot.
But there was still another deadly threat.
I looked up at the power lines, and they were all sparking. So it's like 4th of July above me. Well, I'm thinking if I get too close to a line that's in the water, then there's no more me.
Coming up, Johnny reaches his mother just in time, or so he thought.
But first, another tip to keep you safe if you live in an area prone to storms.
Hurricanes can be devastating to property and possessions, but storms of this magnitude can also knock out critical power sources.
So if you live in an area prone to storms, be sure to have alternative power sources available. Portable generators, backup mobile phone batteries, and hand crank radios are easy to purchase and relatively inexpensive.
Remember, when danger strikes, information matters. Staying cautious and connected will help keep you and those you love safe.
When Hurricane Ian hit Naples, Florida in 2022, it brought a storm surge that flooded the city. The water climbed up to 12 feet in some spots. Johnny Lauder was right in the middle of it and had to get to his elderly wheelchair-bound mother who lived blocks away.
I see water coming out of the bathroom, I see water coming through the kitchen door, and I see water coming through the window.
I was fighting the whole way there against the gulf, pushing me back. When I got closer, I could hear her screaming from inside. That was terrifying because I didn't know if something had fallen on her or if she was hurt. Turns out she was on the phone with my son, and she was yelling at me through the window that we couldn't open the door.
Johnny climbed into the house through a window.
The water was brown, murky, just disgusting, and I knew I had to get her out of that water. She was shaking like a chihuahua, so I knew the onset of hypothermia when I see it. So wrapped her up, put her on the table.
He got me up on the table, and I didn't realize how bad it was outside until I looked out the kitchen window, and I couldn't believe it.
Johnny couldn't get his mom out by himself, but the surge made it almost impossible for first responders to get to them.
Even though we have all these fire engines and the ladder trucks and so forth, they were useless at the peak of the storm surge.
Johnny called his son Xavier, who began making the long trek just like he had.
It was pretty difficult. I had the same currents going against me, but I just didn't have a thing in my mind going through besides I gotta get there. I gotta get there. I gotta get there. By the time I got there, everything had toppled over. Her refrigerator was lying sideways.
We tried to move couches and everything, but the couches, when they're waterlogged, these things were, it felt like 1,000 pounds.
The water stuck. It smelled like dead fish. And I thought, oh no, don't tell me he's going to go head first down in the water.
We had to try to move as much as we could to get her in her wheelchair outside the door. 6:10, we're now leaving, pushing a wheelchair, half deep water. Yeah, that's done. We have a little bit of a trek ahead of us, but we'll try to get somewhere safe.
With the threat of hypothermia, Johnny knew they had to get his mom somewhere warm and dry. Weary and cold, they finally made it back to Johnny's son's home.
We get back here, she's in her chair. I can't do anything about her wet chair, so we figured we'd put some towels down, put her on a soggy couch. We knew we needed to get her cleaned up.
Now they had to worry about the impacts from that contaminated water.
But she'd been sitting in that water for 12 hours easily. So EMS came out to check on her.
They were like, we gotta get her to the hospital. We gotta get her clean. We gotta make sure her wounds are okay.
They took her to Naples Community Hospital, and our fears were right. She did have some bacterial infections throughout her body. But since then, she's been treated. She's doing better. She's in a rehab facility now.
As the waters receded, the Lauders saw the true extent of Hurricane Ian's destruction.
We made our way back to my mom's house, and then that's when we saw the real aftermath of what things look like. This is my mom's house. Well, what was her house. The water came all the way up to here. You can see the water line against the wall. It was 84 years of her life and things that she's had since the 40s, just taken away in a matter of 12 hours.
It's difficult to see it how it is right now because it used to be where you'd come to just enjoy your day with grandma, play cards. I would do puzzles at the table. It definitely stirs up some emotion.
As if the devastation at his mother's home weren't enough, Johnny and his son Xavier would soon learn that their home had also been lost to the storm.
We went the next day, everything destroyed. You saw all your stuff underwater, you saw it all destroyed, and there was a big box of like our family photos and all that, and it hurt to see it.
We lost everything. My mom lost everything. I lost baby pictures of my kids and albums. But, you know, those are up here and in here. And the rest of the stuff, it doesn't matter.
Both Johnny and his mother, Karen, had lost all their possessions. But their family and their fighting spirit had all survived.
Pick up people up, you know, around us, and we move forward. So you can't look back.
We just gotta imagine it was a big reset button, everything's fine at the end of the day, and we're just glad to be here.
Hurricane Ian taught everyone an important lesson.
Mother Nature is a beautiful but cruel and unforgiving woman, and she shouldn't be taken lightly.
Never again will I stay in a hurricane again. I'll go to a shelter, go somewhere with high. I learned my lesson the hard way.
Thankfully, everyone survived the 12-hour ordeal, in part thanks to this family's love and commitment to one another.
I thought they were heroes. I thought they were great, and I'm proud of them.
Not a hero, I'm just a boy who went to go help his mom, you know? That's the only way I can look at it. It's just, you do what you gotta do.
He's my dad. I have to be proud of everything that he does because he's amazing.
Heroes matter, and stories like today's prove just that.
So, the next time you come across a first responder, take a moment and thank them for making a difference each and every day.
And thank you for watching. We'll see you next time, right here on Hearts of Heroes.